It is not a secret that lately most marriages have been failing. While it is difficult for us to fully understand and explain the reasons for these marriages failing, it is important for us to study some of the common reasons why these marriages crash. Remember, experience is the best teacher so long it is not your own experience. So, learning from these mistakes people make is very important for us to be proactive and preventive from making our own relationship the next statistics. I hope you have not been making the same mistakes. Statistics has it that over 50% of marriages end in ruins. Most of these termination of marriages end within the first 2 years, while some of them that survive the first 2 years usually hit the rocks somewhere between the fifth and the eighth year. Some may not hit the rock, they may just decide to bear and live together as roommates while not even enjoying the benefits of marriage. In this video, I will give you three common reasons why most marriages fail. And I will also add a bonus towards the end of the video for you to understand some of the ideas that people come into marriages that cause the marriage to go into wreckage. So sit back, grab a pen, and let us go on this journey. This video will change your relationship and your marriage. Financial problems are usually the first challenges that hit the home. It presents usually as too little money, too much money, or inappropriate spending of money. Sometime long ago, while I was still in my undergraduate days, I had a neighbor, Thomas. I noticed that Thomas and his wife had a cycle of always quarreling. At some times of the year, they usually quarrel every single day. While some times of the year, I see them giggling and smiling all through. After the second or third year of observing this marriage, I found out something very striking. Thomas was a farmer, and Thomas's farm usually produces seasonally, which means Thomas usually has money at some times of the year, which I later collaborated with the times when they were all smiling and giggling and everything was fine with the marriage. And at those times when they were always quarreling, it was a time when Thomas' farm produces were not yet yielding. Now, how does too little money present? When there is too little money in a home, there are a lot of financial issues to be taken care of. However, the money is not enough. And you can do a study on your own and observe. Almost all marriages where you see a spouse beating the wife, a large part of those times when they are quarreling and fighting, the issues are related to lack of money. Now, too much money. Sometimes when people suddenly hit a jackpot or meet wealth that they did not plan for, it leads them to begin to behave abnormally and they begin to attract all forms of vices. These are the guys who suddenly they become alcoholics, suddenly they become users of drugs of abuse, and sometimes some of them even dive into gambling. These abnormal practices could shake the relationship a lot, and I'm sure you understand how. Now, the last one is inappropriate spending. Sometimes when people suddenly have money, they begin to dream about things that it's not in their character on what to spend the money on. This is very common when people win lotteries. Money was not planned for, suddenly money has come. They need to find a way of spending it with the hope that another money will come again next week. So they indulge in all forms of abnormal spending. What do I suggest you can do to curb all this? I will suggest that the family draws up a single budget that will be funded by the resources gotten from the income of the wife and the husband. So it is not like we are sharing responsibilities. No, there will be one budget and the monies will be put together and we'll fund that budget from the monies put together. Another advice I can give to you is before money comes, try as much as possible to make a plan ahead of time. This reduces your chances of abnormal spending. For the likes of Mr. Thomas, I will encourage that you make a plan to make sure that funds are generated continuously throughout the year. So there won't be times of highs and lows. At least have a baseline. There could be highs, but do not fall below the nadir. Extended family. For me to explain this completely and for us not to get confused, I need to give some background principles. First, your extended family, when I'm talking about this, I mean each of the siblings, your sibling, your parents, as well as your spouse's siblings and parents. Those are the people I'm talking about as extended families. So the foundation I need to lay here is that they do not intentionally plan to cause harm. So the harm they cause, it is not intentional. It is not because they are wicked, but it is just born out of concern. And that concern is where the problem really is. Also, another foundation I must lay down is for you to know that you and your spouse came from different backgrounds, different trainings, different belief systems, or even sometimes different religion. This means that we have different beliefs and different ideologies about different things. So when we come together to make a home, you both must realize that we need to reach a common decision on what is which and what we decide to believe. The third thing I need to lay on ground as a principle in background is that sometimes you must realize that you have spent a larger part of your life with your parents and siblings, much more than you have spent in your current marriage. For instance, you got married about 4 years ago, but for the first 28 years of your life, you lived with your siblings and they were the only ones you trusted. So when you get married, you seem to be a bit confused of who and what to trust. Some persons begin to trust their siblings more than their current spouse. This is exactly how trouble starts. Issues that have to do with the marriage, both of us, you and I, you begin to discuss it with your siblings. Some of them even discuss with their parents. Now, these parents, while not meaning to do harm, give a suggestion based on their own view. Take note, their views is based on their belief system, which may not be the same as your spouse. Same thing, you can turn it around. The spouse's relatives give advice based on their belief systems, which is not the same as your belief system. So we begin to have a clash of belief systems. And if each of the spouse is not intelligent enough, it may lead to the wreckage of the home. So what do I advise? Whenever you decide to marry, remember that quote that says, "A man shall leave his father and his mother and shall cleave to his wife and become one flesh." Remember? What that quote was trying to say was that the moment you decided to leave your parents and you decided to say "I do" to him or to her, what you decided to do was I am done with the beliefs of my parents. Now I want to forge a new system of beliefs with this my spouse. These new beliefs must be stuck to. So you need to discuss what the extent of these beliefs will be while courting. Or if you have already entered into the marriage, I think you should take a break, take 2 weeks, and both of you discuss what your belief systems are. And those belief systems are what you should stick to. Again, whenever there is a challenge within the home, most likely due to difference in belief systems, try to solve your issues yourself rather than taking it to a third party who has a different belief system from the belief system you and your spouse are trying to put up. At this juncture, I must also add that the decision to shift grounds or settle your issues amicably should not be based on whether it is male or female spouse talking. Neither should it be based on your financial power, but you should focus as a family on decisions that will help the family as a whole rather than an individual in the family. When we look at this, it will be easier for us to settle our issues within the home amicably. I know you are enjoying what you are watching. Please take a break, 15 seconds, click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that anytime I publish videos like this, you will get to see them and watch them immediately they are released. Now we are done with that. Let's go on. Training kids can be very challenging. To be precise, training kids brings a lot of strain into the home. Sometimes, in the process of training kids, one of the spouses may make a sacrifice on their job or their source of livelihood or even their career. It is important that we do not make this decision of who needs to trade or sacrifice his career due to sex. It should not be the sexual determination if it is male or female, but it should be based on mutual agreement on who makes the highest amount of funds and whose job we can put on hold for the meantime, while that person that has been put on hold for the meantime begins to pursue other things that do not require him to leave the home from time to time. So there is nothing bad if a man decides to quit his job, decide to stay at home to take care of his children while doing a master's degree program on distance learning. So you could see that a man could actually, if he earns less and he thinks that he needs a master's degree program, then he could quit his job, do the master's degree program for 1 to 2 years, then launch into another job of which the wife could take over or things like that. What I mean is, the decision should not be based on whether it is a male or a female spouse that should sacrifice from time to time. We all should sacrifice based on the common goal of all of us as a family. Also, another thing that can put strain on the marriage from training kids is determination of the kind of exposure we want to give to the children, the career paths we want to choose for our children, whether the children should go visiting this person or that person. It can also put a lot of strain. So whenever you are doing any of this, or whenever you are making ideas about visitation or spending the holiday or the rest of them, let us make sure it is balanced, and let us make sure that we put into cognizance where the children will learn what they need for the future and not just spend time here or spend time there. Before we end this video, I must give you one extra idea I promised you about that people bring into marriage and causes a lot of problems. The idea is some people bring a lot of malaligned expectations into marriage. Everyone has an idea in their mind when they want to get married. However, we must realize that these ideas may not be realistic. Some persons believe that, oh, when I get married, I will stop doing this kind of thing. When I get married, This is what my husband will be doing for me. When I get married, this is what I hope to achieve from the marriage. Look, when you get married, you will sleep on the night of the wedding and wake up the next morning to realize that nothing really has changed. So a lot of people come with expectations that are over the roof, expectations that cannot be met. When they stick to these expectations, they begin to have problems with their spouses. When they decide to change these expectations, they begin to feel unaccomplished. So it is not bad if people come into marriage with expectations. However, let these expectations be reasonable, or let these expectations be malleable, let it be adjustable, let it be shiftable, let it be modifiable, so we don't put unnecessary expectations on the marriage. Remember, your expectations may not be the same expectations as that of your spouse, and by the time you hold on to it too long, it may begin to cause issues in the marriage. I know you have enjoyed this video, and I know that you have a lot of comments and a lot of questions to ask. Let me ask you, which of the other problems of marriage that we didn't talk about in this video that you want to talk about? Please put it in the comment section and let's talk about it. Let us all discuss it and let us have a more rounded discussion about the issues that makes marriages fail. Do not forget to like, share this video to your friends and families on all social media platforms so that they too could benefit from what you are getting, and we can all build better and happier marriages for our whole world.